Teachers can no longer deal with Gen Alpha in school. We are seeing a mass exodus of the people who trained their whole lives, who wanted to do nothing more than to teach the next generation, realize they would rather quit than teach Gen Alpha.
As a teacher, I was ready. I was ready to be underpaid. I was ready to teach the kids based off a curriculum that was sold to my district. I was ready to meet those difficult kids with compassion and understanding. I was ready to work long hours and not get paid for them. I was ready to put the little money I did make back into my classroom. I was ready to go above and beyond to create a safe learning environment for all of my students. I was ready to collaborate with parents in order to make sure their child got everything they needed in order to be successful. I was ready to work with every resource specialist in my school to make sure every student of mine got what they needed. I was ready to learn on the fly and think on my feet, since most education programs don't adequately prepare you for the real teaching experience. I was ready to be exhausted at the end of every single day, since I chose a career that I had to pour all of my emotion and energy into. I was ready to use my body as a human shield in order to protect every single one of my students. I was not ready to be hit and to have things thrown at me when a child isn't getting what they want and have nothing done about it. I was not ready to have the environment I quite literally paid money for to be destroyed by a child not getting what they want and have nothing done about it. I was not ready to have to evacuate my classroom multiple times a week because one child was destroying the room and have nothing done about it. I was not ready to be a general education teacher and be given a class with multiple students who are identified with behavioral needs, have absolutely no resources, no aids, support, or anything of the kind. I was not ready to have to fly through the curriculum, even though that's not best practice, just because we need to fit all of the information in so they can do well on a state test. The same assessment, by the way, we tell them not to worry about, not to stress about, it's not a big deal, yet at the same time, often our excuse or reasoning behind learning something or learning something a certain way is so they can do well on the test. I was not ready to have students open up to me about things that I pray that no one ever has to experience in their whole life, let alone a child, and me not being able to do anything about it except to report it and hope someone else does their job and follows up on it. I was not ready to have one child terrorize their classmates to the point where their classmates didn't want to come to school and have nothing done about it. I was not ready for a parent to exhibit such unsafe behavior that I was not allowed to be in a meeting with them by myself, yet I still had to participate and communicate with that parent all year. I was not ready to ask for a specific student to be removed from my room due to their unsafe behavior to me and the rest of the class and be told that's not possible simply because they have nowhere else for them to go. I was not ready to know that the students who need resources would never get them due to the lack of resources within the school. And overall, I was not ready to give up a dream career that I worked so hard to get into just because of a failing system that shows no promise of getting better anytime soon.
She had to evacuate her classroom multiple times a week because one kid was attacking the other kids. These teachers are getting absolutely no support to face Gen Alpha's violent behavior. And this teacher is indicative of why the whole profession is collapsing.
Public education is going down, and I'm one of the 51,000 teachers that resigned after the past year. I mean, we're seeing it all over the news right now that tens of thousands of teachers are leaving the field and then leaving the kids with no teachers and leaving the ones who stay with more responsibility. When I read these articles or listen to the news, most of the blame is put onto teacher pay, and that's not why teachers are leaving. As teachers are going through college and when they're deciding on their career path, they know all about teacher pay and the lack thereof. Teachers are leaving for a much deeper reason, and people need to wake up. Understand how difficult it is for a teacher to make the decision to leave. Unless you've done it, I don't think people realize how difficult it is to make a decision to put you first, because as a teacher, you never come first. You've always justified getting beat down and walked on for the good of the kids, so to finally stand up for yourself and to walk away from something like teaching, it is not a decision that's made lightly, and I think that's what the average person doesn't get. Unless someone has their head super deep in the sand, I think they know what's going on in the schools right now isn't good, but I don't think they get how deep it really goes. More people need to start waking up to this and realizing it has zero to do with our pay. In a very small nutshell, it has everything to do with the fact that teaching no longer has anything to do with learning and educating, and that we're forced to put up with things that should not even be taking place in our schools.
One teacher commented, "I left the day a kid threw a desk at me while I was 36 weeks pregnant, and the principal sent him back into my classroom within 10 minutes. I'm honestly surprised even more teachers aren't quitting. And what I try to say in these Gen Alpha videos is that it's not the kids' fault. You can tell how much these teachers care about the kids and how much it breaks their heart to leave them. But when the punishment for throwing a desk at a pregnant teacher is 10 minutes in the principal's office, teachers just don't feel safe. and they try to go to another school that they hope will give them more support. But often the Gen Alpha kids at the new school are just as bad, and the teacher ends up quitting teaching for good. And even the teachers who aren't quitting are changing schools and having to tell their students that they're leaving.
I will not be here next year. Okay. I have accepted a job offer somewhere else. This is obviously hard for me. The best way I can put it is the reason I'm crying is not because I'm leaving a building. It's not because I'm leaving a nice school where we have nice PE equipment, right? The reason it's hard for me is because I'm leaving you guys.
This teacher too.
I'm not coming back next year.
What? I literally only took German for...
What? I'm already trying not to cry. You're the only class I've cried with.
Why are you not coming back?
My husband and I are moving.
Where?
We're still in Kansas. But... Yeah, can we move?
I know the school taking
I'll stay in the trunk.
And something has been happening recently. People are realizing that it's Gen Alpha's parents that are causing them to behave like this. This was recently illustrated in a tragic story where a Texas teenager died after having an energy drink. That's really strange. So her parents sued the energy drink, but what the parents didn't say is that they let their daughter drink 6 of those energy drinks every day.
The family of a 17-year-old girl in Texas is suing Alani Nu Energy Drinks after they say that the teen died from a heart condition caused, they say, by the drink.
So now a TikTok is going viral saying this.
Queen shit, bitch. I think bitch is in love. Bitch is definitely in love.
He captioned this video saying, seeing how these parents blamed everyone but themselves for how their child was behaving, he now understands what teachers are going through in classrooms. People commented that girl had 42 of those energy drinks a week. I'm very sorry she passed, but how could her parents have let this happen? Which is what I'm asking. You're letting your 17-year-old child drink 42 energy drinks a week? She's 17, not 70. Why does she need 5 energy drinks, let alone 42? I want you to watch how this teacher confesses that he loved to teach when it was the previous generation. But when his students became Gen Alpha, he realized he couldn't take it anymore.
It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you want to be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you want to be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need.
And when teachers finally decide they can't deal with Gen Alpha anymore, they often have to give up their dream of teaching that they've had since they were Gen Alpha's age. The comments are furious. They are furious that parents are letting Gen Alpha become these violent iPad kids that drive hardworking teachers out of their dream job. Parents today have failed their children and expect teachers to raise their kids for them. Teaching is not what it was 10 years ago. Another teacher who was forced to quit commented that when she dreamed of being a teacher as a kid, her teddy bears didn't talk back and throw things at her like Gen Alpha students do. Someone else commented, I was a teacher, and these parents are the worst, screw them all, which got 5,000 likes. You can just see how much resentment these teachers have, because dealing with Gen Alpha has become so burdensome that when they finally quit teaching, it's like an anvil has lifted off their shoulders.
This is the line. Hold on tight.
A lot of teachers have decided to quiet quit. One of them said, I'm currently in class and just letting the kids talk over me because I'm done. It's honestly terrifying to see how many teachers want to quit. Teachers deserve better than this. That's right. We're not even talking about the teachers who want to quit but can't. If all of them joined the teachers who have already quit, we'd have like 3 teachers left. Like Umbridge, Professor Crocker, and Mrs. Puff. Those would be the only 3. Watch how this teacher exposed how her school is trying to crush her students' free thought and just create obedient workers.
Teaching today is not teaching. They want a script. They want a robot. They want their numbers. The word differentiation. So when I went to school, it's like that was the most important thing. Like, you get your student what they need, right? If the child has behavior issues, you figure it out and you get them what they need. If they have reading issues, you adapt their lessons, you get them extra help, you meet their needs. So our district now is going to tier 1. So we cannot differentiate. We cannot give the child what they need. I teach 4th grade. I have 2 kids at a kindergarten reading level. I have about 4 kids at a 1st grade reading level. And they're telling me that I have to teach this 4th grade curriculum that these kids can't even read. You know, like back in the day, it's like, you know, teachers like, okay, turn to page 47 and read this and answer the questions. They can't read the material. But I am not allowed to give them material that is at their level. I guess the point of this is I used to love teaching. I used to love teaching. I used to be excited to get here every day, and now I'm sitting in my car crying before work. What if I handed you a 7-page test on anatomy and physiology at a doctorate level, and I'm like, do your best, you can do it, here, just try, and you literally don't know anything on it? That's what we do as a pretest. We have to give them this long ass pretest, and they're sitting there feeling like crap, and it wastes hours of their life. My kids, you know, I have maybe 6 kids that are on grade level that can do the work, that I'm like, hey, let's do this homework. 6 out of 24. I'm not supported. I asked for resources. My 2 kids, they can't read. I've been told I can't use anything that's not district approved. So I send emails. I make meetings for them to come and tell me what to teach them, because they won't let me decide, because they don't trust me, because we are not valued anymore as educators.
Teachers are commenting they give these kids so many tests, the kids do nothing but practice tests all day. Someone said, start your own school. Parents will come. Make learning fun again. And I think that's a great idea, and something I might want to do one day. But teachers are becoming extra frustrated, because every time they complain about how hard teaching Gen Alpha is, someone dismisses them saying, you can't complain. You get summers off.
Oh my gosh, teachers get so much time off. Summer's literally 3 months long. They literally only work half a year. I get 5 days PTO. You too could become a teacher. You too could become a teacher. Oh, that's right. But there's a reason why you don't. Remember that reason. Remember your why.
Remember your why? That sounds like something a teacher would say to Gen Alpha after he tried to throw a desk at his pregnant teacher. Remember your why, Charlie? Remember why you don't want to give me an involuntary abortion today? This teacher became so much happier when she quit teaching Gen Alpha.
With the snare and the bass square in the face, this fucking world better prepare to get laced, because they're gonna taste my...
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Students training to be teachers right now commented on this video, maybe I should rethink my plans. Maybe you should. Because if you're a teacher, you'll have to work so much harder than any previous generation of teachers to make your lessons super exciting, to keep up with Gen Alpha's cracked attention span. You'll be like, in 1492, Coco Melon crossed the ocean blue. Washington thought George III was totally not Sigma. Am I right?
I purchased this pack of plastic magic wands, right? They came in a myriad of colors. I bought them, I came to work, I put them in this cup, and I've kept them. We have not used them all year. Today, finally, I was like, we're going to get the wands out, because if you are not in education, maybe you don't know this, but right now, in order for students to want to do anything, it has to be fun and has to be exciting. And if they don't think it's fun or exciting, they're not going to do it, and they're going to complain the whole time. They're going to complain anyways, but like, they're going to complain the whole time, they're not going to do it. So we are doing an activity where every group needed a leader, and we were going to pass who was the leader around as we went through the rounds of the thing. And I said, pick out your leader, raise your hand, who's your leader? And I went up to each table with one of every color, and I decided like, oh, I think that you are this purple wand. And I like gave every leader at their table this plastic wand. I did spend my own money on these. And today, no sooner than I had passed them out, I watched a child look at me and then break it. Just broke it right in half. Something that we didn't even need these for, right? We could have done this whole activity without the magic wand, but I was trying to make it exciting and fun. I try to make class enticing. They just broke it. And then when I was upset that they just broke the wand that we've never even used before, that I spent my own money on this summer when I was spending my personal vacation and time off school looking for things to make their lives better, they just snapped it in half. And they don't care, and they're not sorry. And when I was upset about it, he laughed at me. So it's not like it's ever going to get better. Like he's not going to care.
This teacher spent her own money to give each kid their own magic wand. She didn't have to do that. And within 20 seconds, her Gen Alpha students destroyed them. And then they just laughed at her for wanting to be nice to them. If you were a teacher, why would you ever try to help these kids if every time you do, they spit in your face? I'm amazed anyone even is still teaching. And if you are, bless you. How long will we accept Gen Alpha treating teachers like this before they all quit? How many more desks do we need to throw and magic wands broken in half? How many more ponytails will be yanked and crying teacher quitting videos do we need?
I realized today it's not behaviors that are causing teachers to leave, it's apathy. The kids of today are not motivated at all. Even doing a fun book study, they don't care. What's worse about not caring about their work is they don't care about consequences. They don't care if they get in trouble. They don't care if they get in school suspension. They don't care if you call their parents. How do you battle that? You can't. There's nothing more draining than consistently battling is apathy. It's like you're fighting against a unmovable wall. It's just so draining and disheartening when you're putting your heart and soul into something for hardly any care.
You could not pay me to become a teacher right now. And with how parents are raising these iPad kids, it's obvious they've turned out like this. They have no wonder for the world because everything they care about is on a 10 by 12 electronic screen. They don't know any history or art or literature. And if they know history, they know the old days of Charlie D'Amelio dances and what lockdown must have been like. They've replaced traditional knowledge with TikTok trends. And when I say traditional knowledge, I mean any knowledge of anything ever. Someone commented, "You're not alone. My childhood best friend is quitting teaching because her Gen Alpha kids have such extreme behavior issues that are too much for one person to handle." But more poignantly, sorry. It's sad to see the type of people parents are raising and that the teaching profession is going to slowly die. Because how can you expect teachers to teach Gen Alpha when they can make way more money with way less stress in a corporate job?
I'm not doing this. I've just realized I don't have to.
I will say, I know teachers are going through a lot with Gen Alpha, but I still blame them for one thing, that they're using AI to teach their lessons. An art teacher using AI. I am so grateful there was no AI when I went to school. Can you imagine Van Gogh sitting down to do Starry Night and he's like, "Claude, paint me a bunch of weird looking circles." Someone commented their school put up an anti-AI poster. Okay, sounds good so far. But they made the poster with AI! We are so beyond irony at this point. We're basically like Iron Man. I don't know if that analogy works, but at least I came up with it, not Claude! And students don't think teachers can tell when they're using AI, but they can. But teachers just don't do anything when their students use AI because they know there's nothing they can do. Every student is using AI.
See them flying on a 10-mile heat. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Round the racetrack, then repeat. Oh, doo-dah day. I win my money on a bobtail nag. Doo-dah, doo-dah. I keep my money.
I will say though, sometimes I write in my notes and then copy on a Google Doc, so sometimes teachers like that one can get some false AI positives because they're using AI to detect AI. And you can never trust AI unless the AI tells you to watch more Casey Simpson videos. But it's crazy that professors are using AI. Professors who are supposed to be living bastions of knowledge. They're starting to sound like they graduated from the University of Claude.
Welcome to my office hours. That question? Did you try asking Claude yet? So I've asked ChatGPT to make a picture of each of you as a blueberry and an impossible exam for all of you. You know, that last exam went poorly. I put it through our AI grader and everybody got a 0. Really disappointed in you guys. What's that? There's a lot of M dashes in my syllabus? That's weird. It's gonna be a great semester. I've asked Claude how to teach math good, and so it made this syllabus. You know, I'm not even quite sure why I'm teaching you all this. AI is really able to do it already. AI use on this exam is encouraged. Please don't write any of your own work. I noticed some of your writing didn't have a very AI feel. Remember guys, we have to embrace the tools of the future. How much do you pay in tuition again?
I remember in my last college final, the professor straight up said, use a bunch of AI to write this for you. I don't care. Teachers know if they care about their students, parents will get upset when they give their kid a bad grade. It just means extra work for them. So teachers are just giving up. This teacher said, I stopped giving any of my kids Fs and all my problems went away. Now I just get a paycheck and wait to retire. I used to hold kids accountable, you know, try to get them to learn, but that's when the parents would email me nonstop. If these parents want to gamble away their kids' futures, be my guest.
I start second quarter of high school with my sophomores, asking them to go big in their heads. Like, dream your biggest dream. Is your dream to be signed with the NFL, win America's Got Talent, get a full ride scholarship for a university, become the first brain surgeon at the age of 18, win NASCAR? And I do this for a specific project, but whatever. Over the years, these answers have given me a lot of insight as to what's going on with a generation. 10 years ago, everybody talked about wanting to go to college or wanting to get into an internship, and that was really a focus. 5 years ago, it felt like so many people wanted to be doctors and nurses. I think that maybe had something to do with the pandemic, but the last 5 years have been awfully rough on our young people. They are growing up now during a time where the youngest of Gen Z, who are just getting in through high school, are the ones who are really seeing a world that does not have a lot of hope in it. And it's showing in their answers. Instead of dreaming of accomplishing things, instead they have things like, I won $2 billion. I won the lottery. I just won a new truck. I won the lottery. I won the lottery for $2.5 billion. I got $100 million. I won $1 million on Family Feud. There's a handful of kids in there who said things like, I wanted to cure cancer, or I got drafted into a certain team. But the majority of them were all about getting money quickly. We've lost the ability for our young people to dream of doing something and being successful at something in this world. And instead, what they see is exactly what the adults of the world have offered them, which is the only way you can survive is to have a lot of money.
I'm not surprised kids feel that way when the most popular YouTuber they watch is all about giving away cash, and when we have so few quality movies and TV shows that show you what art can do coming out now. Do you know why Obsession and Backrooms were so popular? It was because we have so few good original movies coming out. If those movies were made 20 years ago, I'm sure people would have liked them, but they wouldn't have become the cultural defining moments that they are. TV shows and movies used to show kids all kinds of things they could be when they grew up. So many kids used to watch West Wing and be inspired to go into government, or Marcus Welby MD and become a doctor. Now kids all watch influencers who all live the same lives of being professional influencers.
I'm encountering a really concerning number of students who truly do not see any value in learning, because as one of the 4th and 5th graders that I was teaching the other day asked me, why do I need to know any of this if a computer or AI can do it for me? A little girl didn't want to learn how to read because why would she need to when she could have the computer read it to her? Why would she need to know how to count when a calculator could do it, or when she could just take a picture of her math problem and have the AI do it for her? This is a legitimate issue because if for whatever reason we lose the ability to have access to these things, we have an entire generation of kids who's going to be entirely helpless without the internet, and that is not okay. If you as a parent are encouraging this behavior and allowing your child to use AI for everything, you have a problem.
Kids always ask, why do I need to know this? And I think teachers give the worst answer possible. Teachers think it's a good response to say, well, Timmy, you should learn math because you won't always have a calculator. Well, guess what? Now we do. You need to learn science because you won't always have an encyclopedia with you. Well, guess what? Now we do. And also, both of those answers beg the question. If you're saying you should learn science because you won't always have the science answers in front of you, you're not telling kids why it's important to know those science answers at all. You do not learn science so you can recall facts or pass a biology exam. You learn everything you'll ever learn in school for two reasons only. The first one is opportunity. If you never learn math in elementary school, you'll never be able to become an astronomer, physicist, mathematician, accountant, or engineer. If you don't learn English by middle school, you won't be able to ever be an author, playwright, speechwriter, consultant. We give kids a large amount of skills so they can grow up and do what they're most passionate and skilled at. But there's a second deeper reason for everything we teach in school, which is that students are human beings. Human beings live life, and every subject is somehow studying life. So even if you're not going to become a professional musician, have you never been stirred by music? Even if you're not going to become an astronomer, is your life better for not knowing the Big Dipper? Even if you don't become a historian, if you don't know who George Washington or Adolf Hitler are, you will understand far less of your values, of the values society has given to you from these figures. You are a full human being. You are not an AI algorithm that is specifically optimized for productivity in one specific field. Physicist Richard Feynman loved to paint. Einstein played the violin, and he got some of his best ideas then. The lead guitarist for Queen studied astrophysics. 21 Pilots got their name from a play. Stand-up comedian George Carlin was inspired by Danny Kaye, a dancer. Sonia Sotomayor became a Supreme Court justice because she watched Perry Mason on TV. We are the only self-conscious creatures in the universe. We have built societies, and we are the only creatures capable of consciously changing ourselves. We're creative and multi-layered. Our lives would be so poor if we didn't know psychology or logic or English or philosophy. John Denver sings in Rocky Mountain High. He knows he would have been a poorer man had he never seen an eagle fly. I would be a poorer man if I never heard Bob Dylan's music, or watched David Fincher's movies, or read Sam Shepard's plays, or heard Hank Williams sing. Or would you prefer not knowing how the US government works and being completely shut out from how everyone is running society? Would you prefer to not understand the value of a dollar and never be able to save any money to live a better life in the future? Do you think it's a good thing if you don't know who your ancestors are, who you came from, how many people sacrificed to give you the life that you have? What's the first thing any totalitarian society tries to do to its oppressed minorities? Erase their histories so they don't know where they come from, because they know how deracinating and soul-losing that is. If you don't know where you come from or who any of your family members are, you're just this blank conscious mind floating in a vacuum. But you're not. You're a person with people around you. Don't you want to know that? Were you never stirred by Van Gogh's self-portrait or a biblical psalm? If you never learned any of these things, what would your life be? I don't even know. I guess you learn the basics of language and then you just go to your job and die? Let me tell you a secret. The only reason any subject exists, biochemistry, psychopharmacology, actuary studies, they all have the same purpose: to make human lives better, richer, deeper.
Better, faster, stronger.
So if you don't study one of them, you're missing out on a huge way to make your life better and richer and deeper and understand the world you live in. Every subject you study will teach you the truth, because the truth is layered. If you ask a chemist what you're made of, he'll say water. If you ask a physicist what you're made of, he'll say empty space. Ask a psychologist what you're made of, he'll say your parents' divorce. And these are all true. You will understand less of the world if you don't understand one of those answers. So the reason you learn the subjects you learn is the same reason you do anything. Why do you play with your friends? Why do you go on Roblox, Gen Alpha? Because you want your life to be better. Well, your life will be a lot better for having read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and learning how corrupt human beings can get when they have power over other people. You'll lead a better life for knowing what life's about, what humans are made of, and where they go wrong. And if you disagree with me, then there's no use for you to go to school at all, or really do anything ever. You might as well die, because I don't understand what else you would do in your life. You know what every religion, philosophy, morality, and subject has in common? The belief that there are things you should know about life, and your life will be better for knowing them than not knowing them. So with that in mind, let's see how these teachers are doing.
Parents that don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't answer phones. They don't discipline their kids, and kids who feel like they're going to commit suicide because they're getting bullied. You have no idea what it's like being a teacher. You have no idea. I don't want to hear a person ever in the history of ever say that this job, we're lucky, we have it easy, we get so much time off.
Yeah, teaching has always been hard, but not like this. Because when teaching was like invented, when Americans first started going to school, all the kids knew how lucky they are to be able to take time out of their lives on the farm and study the secrets of their world, the deepest truths around them.
Over the weekend, my son had a soccer game. My son is 6 years old, so he's playing with other children that are also 6 years old. So I'm sitting on the sideline with my daughter and my son, and my husband is behind me playing catch the ball with my littlest. So both teams get on the field. The other team starts going like, oh, you're going down, boo, like whatever. So I think to myself, oh, they're a little rowdy. Okay. Game starts. Well, there's one kid on the other team that notices that we're all actively cheering for my son. Okay. So this child on the other team, mid-game, walks over to me, a grown woman, puts two hands up like this close to my face, and goes, psh, 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 you're, except he said it. I have to mouth it because of TikTok. He said the words, you're 6 years old. There's no other way to describe how I felt. I was in disbelief. My daughter and son are sitting with me. They're in shock. The ref is looking at me completely in shock. I go to turn to my husband to tell him, like, this is what happened, but he had already seen it. He was making his way over to the coach, okay? I stand up and go, where is this child's parents? Where is his parents? Who's his parents? Well, guess what? No one claimed him. So that coach ends up pulling that kid out of the game. And I was like, all right, this is it. We're going to find out who his parents are, because surely they're going to see him be pulled from the game. Well, guess what? His parents were actually sitting on the end of the field, knee deep in their phones, completely unaware of anything going on. They had no idea that their son had just done this.
Not many things Gen Alpha does surprises me at this point, but that was one of them. The fact that his parents didn't even notice that he was physically threatening some random woman indicates this kid does not have a bright future in front of him. Not that his parents would ever notice.
There is no way that it's 11:15 and I'm on the brink of tears because I want to go home so bad. These kids are horrible. Horrible. They don't care about learning. The parents don't hold them accountable. They don't make their kids hold themselves accountable. The admin does not hold the parents of the children accountable. They say they hold the kids accountable, but they go to the office and they come back and they do the same thing. I explicitly taught this lesson. I used all of my resources. The students had studies weeklies out in front of them. I had the article up on the board. We went article by paragraph, we broke it down. I asked them questions about it. We dissected the pictures, the whole nine. I did my job. And only my same five students could answer the questions. And it was simple things like, who was Benjamin Franklin? Was he a doctor or an inventor? They're saying a doctor. We had to learn, mind you, I teach first grade, but we had to learn the word perseverance because that is one of his character traits. It means don't give up, keep trying. That's how I explained it to them. I asked them, does perseverance mean kindness? All of them but five said yes. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else I tell them the sky is blue. What color is the sky? They say red. But on our way out the door, one of the kids spit in another kid's face. She's been hitting people all morning. She grabs another one of my autistic students' face. Why are you touching her? She hits, she steals, she cusses, and all her mama want to say is she still believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and she not gonna change overnight. She a kid. I can't make a 6-year-old do nothing they don't want to do. Because Lord forbid I put the pencil in their hand and make them write it. Oh, now it's abuse or something. Like, we can't win.
No matter what these kids do, the principal never suspends them.
At what point is a suspension going to be given? I've asked for the removal out of my classroom. They won't grant it.
I feel like these kids could assassinate the principal, and the principal's corpse would be like, whatever, he's learning.
You know how hard it is to get kicked out of my class? Like, unbelievably difficult. But second period, we're taking attendance, everyone's standing on their numbers, and he kicks a soccer ball as hard as he can, and hits someone in the back. And I'm like, dude, what was that about? He goes, oh, sorry, sir, I'm sorry. I'm like, all right, like, everyone gets one mistake, right? Then we're doing laps on the track, we're playing soccer, we're playing football. Should be an easy day. And I watch him pick up a football, look directly at 3 girls that are walking along the track. He picks it up and just hucks it at them. And it happens to hit a girl straight in the back of the head. And I'm like, dude, like, let's go, you're done. Like, so I radio in the walkie-talkie, can I have a student removed, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what, mister? I didn't do it. I said, buddy, I just watched you do it. He goes, no, that was someone else. I said, oh, okay, who was it? Oh, I don't know. I said, but it was you. I watched you do it. He goes, no, it wasn't me, mister. It wasn't me. I'm like, man, you're going to the office. And luckily, the supervisor came out. He goes, dude, you're so and he was like cussing me out. I'm like, all right, man, have a good one. And that same period, the boys are getting dressed in the locker room. They're like slamming lockers and getting super hectic. So I'm like monitoring, making sure they like stop doing that, like trying to get them out of the locker room. Like, let's go. And the start of third period comes, and one of the kids is like, hey, mister, there's like a clog in the toilet. I'm like, of course, perfect. So I look in the bathroom. It wasn't a clog. Someone grabbed a cone, stuffed it in the toilet, and then used the bathroom through the traffic cone. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing?
Oh, that is gross. But at least that kid didn't punch the teacher in the face like this one did.
We are in this classroom fighting behavior problems 100% of our time. Like most days, I just dread coming to work because I'm about to be a babysitter for the day. Like at my last school, a student full-blown hit me. And the very next day, I got an email from my principal talking about what I could have done better. And not only that, I was forced to call the parents and apologize for the child's behavior. And then I just altogether stopped calling parents because whenever I would call parents, they would say, oh, just move their seat. All of these good teachers are leaving the profession because they're tired of coming to work and being a child wrangler. They're tired of coming to work and they're tired of being a babysitter, a therapist, and no learning is being done. But then when it's time for these reports and time for these numbers to pop up, they're being looked at as fraudulent because there's no growth in the classroom. Literally, my mental health is so bad when I come to work. It's me up at 4 a.m. in the morning, tossing and turning, not able to detach from work because I'm so miserable going in because I have to deal with these issues that I'm getting no support on.
Yeah, he said it himself. These kids attack their teachers, their principals return them to class, none of the kids learns not to do it again, and then the teachers get blamed when these kids don't progress on their test scores. So it's no wonder kids don't know the most basic of facts.
I had a student a while back. I was doing a vocal warm-up with them, and they're probably about 9 or 10 years old, and I was going to teach them an exercise that involves the months of the year in order. So when I started to teach them this exercise, they go, oh, I don't know the months. I don't know the months in order.
I'm sorry, you don't know the months? Do you know the weeks? Do you know what day it is? Do you know who you are? Hi, I'm Casey. What's your name? I don't know. Okay.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July.
Someone commented their 15-year-old sister-in-law still counts on her fingers for math. Hey, Casey, can you pass me 4 beers? Hell yeah, man. 1, 2, 3. Yo, what the fuck? I know it's unpopular to say, but these kids, I'm gonna say it, they've become stupid. And it's not their fault, it's their parents' fault. But as Benjamin Franklin once said, if Gen Alpha doesn't know the months of the year, then there's not much they do know. Don't look that quote up.
So today it's time for their quiz. And like some classes, it's fine. They take the quiz, like it's whatever. And then other classes, it's just not 2, not 5, like 10 to 20 to 30 kids just yelling at me all at once. And sometimes they wonder when I get in bad moods. And I'm like, I just want anyone to imagine that many people just yelling at you. You're one person standing up in front of the room. Everyone else is sitting down, directing all of this at you for doing your only job. And I tolerate it. Like I tolerate this all year. And today was just the first time I realized that this is crazy. Like, why do I let this happen every week? So they're all shilling, like, oh my God, this is so dumb. Like, why did they do this? Like, oh my God, like yelling at me. This is so stupid. Like, wow, like, why are we doing this? And like always, at first I was like, yo, like, I know it's so annoying. And then I was about to hand the quizzes out and people were still just like kind of yelling at me. And I finally just paused and I looked at all them and I was like, if you don't want to do this quiz, then don't do it. Like, take the 0. You're old enough now. You're in high school. I can't make you do this. I'm not your parent. I can't grab the pencil for you. Take the 0 and fail. But stop yelling at me.
The teacher had grown accustomed to Gen Alpha screaming at her, but then she finally realized, hey, this is not normal. This is not how teaching is supposed to go. And when teachers give even simple instructions, like telling kids where they're supposed to sit, Kids don't give a fuck. They just do whatever the hell they want instead.
This year, I have kids that just come in, sit where they want, and not only are they sitting where they want, they're sitting where they want and they're running their mouths. They're not doing their work and they're talking, disrupting the whole class. Why y'all not teaching these kids any level of respect? I've never been this tired in my life. I am actively looking for a way out of education, because when I say education is in the trenches, along with everything else going on in the world right now, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with y'all's bad kids because y'all don't want to be a parent and y'all don't want to give them any sort of discipline at home. I am done. I am exhausted. From destroying my things in the classroom to not following rules and regulations to skipping class. And I get kids have done this for years, but when I tell you it's like times 10 now, it's times 10. I'm done.
This teacher is right. And we have to spread word about this problem, because if we don't do something about it, these kids are going to stay stupid. And you're going to ask your Gen Alpha dentist one day, hey, can we do an appointment in February? What's February? What's an appointment? Who are you? Who am I?
Who am I? Why am I here?
Who am I?
Who am I?
I had a fourth grade student who refused to be in the classroom. He would run away constantly. And when we did get him into the school, he would be incredibly destructive. He destroyed my office. He bit me in the stomach and gave me all kinds of bruises. When we talked to the mom was like, I had no idea. He never acts like this at home. Sound familiar?
You know why these parents are so confused? Because these kids are smart. These kids know they can't get away with that at home, so they do it at school where they know they'll get bailed out. Biting in the stomach, that's like, you really gotta get in there. Oh my gosh.
They're not potty trained. They're going into kindergarten, soiling themselves, not knowing how to use the toilet. Just like 1 or 2 kids, okay? It's like 5, 10 per class. Kids cannot sit through a movie. Buy them some pencils and paper and have them write. Oh, but you know, sometimes we just need a break, and like I don't feel guilty about giving my kids an iPad and putting them in front of the TV. What do you think people did before iPads and TVs existed? This is our future.
You know, on a personal note, I struggle to think who I would be if I were born in Gen Alpha. If I would have any of the intellectual interests I do, or want to make anything of myself other than being a Roblox player. I'm really glad to have gotten the last train out of Clarksville. And all my fellow Gen Zs, I know you can relate. I'll respond to as many comments as I can, so tell me if you're Gen Alpha or glad that you're not. And thank you to our wonderful patrons: Bob, Eric, Matt, Raz, Amelam, Keaton, Magnus, Tito Eche, Kendall, Anthony, Lil Jase, Aaliyah, Sammy, Cool, Becca, Avery, Gerard, Beth, Pill, Love, Wendy, Pine, Eli, Sylvie, Caroline, Alex, Planet, Greb, Zak, Tim, Oz, Nepton, Coco, Drake, C, Jenny, Bass, Bess, Michael, Jase, Sammy, Sally, Jamie, and welcome to our newest patron, Sandra Space the Great. I'm slipping there. I'll be more careful next time. But welcome, Sandra Space. We'd love to see you over on Patreon.